Good morning. It's a beautiful morning. It's just after Easter. Of course, Easter Monday was really wet, and I think tomorrow's going to be really wet. But today it's looking okay. It might be a bit showery. But I'm in green today because we're doing a guided ride. Now, British Cycling still haven't issued the new kit. It must be 2 or 3 years since HSBC stopped sponsoring them, but here we are still advertising them. But not to worry, I'm sure they'll get their act together at some point and get the kit out to us. Now, on today's ride, we're being joined by Charles and Emily. Emily's pilot as usual. She's even got a pilot helmet on, look. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. And here's my co-leader for the day is Mike.
Hi. Yeah, Mike.
And
So you were passed?
Yeah.
you wouldn't have known, would you? Anybody would think you were blind. Mike and I are wearing the Senna C1 helmets today so we can communicate with each other instead of shouting. I was just musing that Emily's so small that a motorist coming up behind Charles might not see Emily and just see this big sign saying blind cyclist, which must be a bit disconcerting. Apart from Charles having blind cyclist on his vest and a pass Pixie pass wide plaque on his pannier, he still gets close passes. Now, while Emily can see the close passes, Charles can feel them, and it's alarming. So they've just bought a Chilitech camera. See why we have to be careful on this hill. It's as rough as dogs, potholes everywhere, so you've got to weave around them, but then you get obviously cars coming the other way and that can be a problem, so we take it steady. Now, the guided ride hasn't started yet, otherwise I wouldn't be bringing people down here on a guided ride because it is so rough. We've got about 7 miles to go to the start, and then the entire ride, I think it's 17 miles round trip, and then obviously 7 miles back. One of the reasons I'm filming today, and I don't normally film guided rides, is that I want to do a range test on the boost motor. Now, I'm really enjoying the motor, it's helping me a great deal. I recently did a 63-mile ride, and it helped me no end on some of the hills and when we had a headwind. Now, given that it was a fairly climby ride and it was into a strong wind a lot of the time, I had no expectations that the battery would carry me all the way around. But today I'm hoping that it's going to get me through, and we'll see, because I'm leaving it switched on the whole time. But the beauty of the boost system with the display is you can easily turn the system on and off, and in fact it's easier to turn on and off than my Ribble, so it does mean that you can be selective about when you use it. Now we're coming up to this narrow bridge, and going to be interesting to see what Charles and Emily do here. If it was me, I'd be getting off. I don't get off on this bike, but on a tandem I think I would. Yes, they're doing the sensible thing. Now, normally this display would be on the handlebar, but I quite like it on the crossbar. It's in a perfect position, and my handlebar is quite busy anyway. Got a lot of stuff on it for filming and so on. Charles was just feeling my bike, weren't you, Charles? And what did you say?
No, I didn't. No, you're not at all. Yeah, I did. I thought this was the crossbar.
Yeah, he thought I've got a very thick crossbar. Right turn to Scarrington's coming up, Mike.
Okay, do you want to come through?
Yeah, yeah.
Just pass on your right.
We've stopped at the pile of horseshoes at Scarrington. I thought it would be a nice tactile experience for Charles.
Oh, these are really stacked up, isn't it?
Yeah, 17 feet high apparently.
God. 17 feet, that's quite a lot.
Yeah.
How many horseshoes that's got?
Yes, a lot of hosses.
Yeah.
Turning left up here.
You've got Charles over behind you. There's with a 20-metre gap. And then we'll...
Right turn coming up just past that van.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
you don't.
20 metre.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you don't need to come up for it.
Roger that.
Well, we've completed our guided ride. I didn't show you the participants because they didn't want to be on camera, so I respect that. But the main thing really was to be looking at this boost motor and how much I was going to get out of it. And so far, I've had it on permanently. It's been a fairly slow ride, and in other words, you know, where I would have been at speeds above the 15.5 mile an hour cut-off, I haven't been because we've had some fairly slow riders. So I guess the motor's probably used a bit more than it would normally do had the speed been a bit higher. But currently I'm on 31 miles and I'm showing 32 volts at the moment as I'm riding. So this, when it drops to 31 volts, will be flat. I can certainly ride the bike without it, so I've got no problem with that. Now bear in mind, with all my gear on, plus I've got extra gear on because it's a guided ride, so the bike's a bit heavier, but I guess with my helmet and shoes and all the rest of it, I'm probably going to be around 85 kilos, and that's going to affect the range of the battery. Now climbing wise, not done much at all. It's 437 feet in total, so hardly any climbing, fairly flat route. But as I say, it's been a bit stop and start, which would reduce the range. So looking at this, I reckon I'm probably going to get around 35 miles from that charge in not ideal conditions.
Whoa!
Well, I'm on 35 miles at the moment. I am sort of jumping between 32 volts and 31 volts, and Charles has opted to come up the drift, which is a road with a hill. I think it runs about 8%. So I'm sure it's going to drain what's left of the battery, but it's going to give a realistic impression of how it copes with an average ride. As Emily and Charles have obviously got power. Now I'm not sure I've got any power left actually, so I think I'm going to be going up this hill manually. It looks like they've run out of power as well. So 35 miles, and 565 feet of climbing, and that's pretty good. As I said earlier, if it was a ride at normal speeds where I would have been over 15.5 miles an hour, then certainly I think I'd have got 40. But when you consider Boost claim, I think it's 30 miles, then that is a little bit conservative.
Smell of the tortoise, Roy.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Well, in the last video on the Boost test, I did 35 miles on Eco, and I had the motor on permanently. And it was a very easy ride. It was slow, and in fact I felt that reduced the amount of power that I got out of the system, purely because I wasn't helping the bike as much as I would normally be. So today I'm riding the bike on Eco just the same, but I'm riding at the sort of normal speeds I would expect to do.